Robert Spring has been a professor of clarinet in ASU's School of Music for more than 20 years. Through his flawless technique and dazzling style, he attracts enthusiastic audiences to his concerts on the university campus, as well as to venues throughout the country and the world. But the reality of his work is 3 to 4 hours each day alone with his clarinet and a metronome in a practice room. Spring begins his day in this way, then opens his door to students, sometimes for 8 hours at a time. Most days he teaches or rehearses from morning into the early evening.
Gets wild there. That's the jam session at the end. Okay, do it.
He came to serious study of the instrument rather late for a musician, but he was fortunate to be mentored by renowned clarinet professor John Moeller at the University of Michigan, who taught him discipline.
I played about 15 seconds of his very first lesson, and he said, "Well, you're not very good." And I was really kind of humiliated by that, and he said, "Well, I have a student who you could study with." I said, "I really would like to study with you. I really would like to." And he said, "Well, I don't know." And so he gave me a exercise to work on. It was just a C major scale out of this Berman scale book. And I went home and played it for about 15 minutes and came back the next week and didn't practice at all. And so he said to me, "You didn't do anything I told you to do." And I said, "Well, yeah, I did for about 15 minutes. That's all it took." Well, he kind of showed me, he said he didn't want to teach me. And then I promised him if he'd showed me how to practice that I would continue on. Well, they admitted me, probably reluctantly.
The discipline Moeller instilled in Spring paid off. He went from one of the last chairs on the marching band to first chair in his initial year, practicing 3 hours each day. Spring was motivated by the culture of the 1970s as well. The University of Michigan was ripe with protest and idealism, and he saw his music as a vehicle for changing the world.
I was a junior high band director. To do that, it meant that you were working with people to try to change the world. And to try, I mean, the whole idea of changing it in a beautiful way, as opposed to, this was during Vietnam and all of those bad times, and we just wanted to change things and make them more beautiful.
The role of professor of clarinet in a Research One university has no doubt changed in the years since those idyllic days. But Spring has adapted well in academia, even thrived.
You have a lot of different hats you have to wear in the Herberger College of the Arts and in the School of Music. We have the one hat where we have to be a researcher. So that's where I do commissions of new pieces and a lot of travel to different countries, playing with different groups and teaching in different places. So that's one aspect of what we do. But the hat on the virtuosic side of things is something that I try to use to expand the repertoire that we have.
Spring recently commissioned composer Andy Mead to write a piece for clarinet, cello, viola, violin, and percussion. Mead's compositions are known for their depth and their difficulty. During a rehearsal with the composer present, it was clear that the work was challenging for everyone.
Well, that rehearsal was really interesting.
Wayne, finish it one more time. I know this is taking time, but this...
Well, I mean, you had rhythms going against rhythms going against rhythms. The thing is that you can practice all those on your own. You can turn your metronome on and have it, go beep, bop, and you play against that, and it's fine. And that's easy. But then you realize that the cellist was playing something completely different than that, and it throws you completely off. And you simply can't find where the beat is anymore.
By the end of the session, though, the composer was impressed and grateful for the life the musicians breathed into his composition.
And I truly appreciate all the work that everybody's put into this. It's an enormous amount of effort, but you've made me very, very happy. So.
When the piece premiered, the audience never would have known any challenge had existed. Spring's technique continues to evolve. Composers seek him out for his virtuosity, his dedication, and his incredible control with circular breathing.
You are exhaling until your lungs are fairly empty, and then you puff your cheeks, and the soft palate comes down, and the tongue comes up, and it forms a seal in your mouth, which is the same seal you get when you go like that, and you inhale through your nose. And so, like, and go on until your lips run out.
Don't read it, turn the page. It's a show.
During the past 20 years, Spring has taught hundreds of students here at ASU and all over the world.
The first thing we have to do is that we train everybody just to play as well as they can on their instrument, to perform as well as they can. That's one side of it. The other side of it is that you also have to train the mind that is going to expand into doing a variety of different things. We don't teach somebody, if they say they want to play in an orchestra, we don't just teach them orchestra music. If they say they want to play in a military band, we just don't teach them band excerpts. We're teaching a complete student. Do the last one more time, and then we'll stop.
Just the pickup?
Yeah, just that low F sharp. There you got it. Terrific.
Part of what he teaches is performance through his mastery of the clarinet and the desire to draw an audience into his passion for music. Still, not all of it came easy.
No, actually, I have incredible performance anxiety. It's been a long and hard road to get beyond that. There's that voice that comes into your head just before you're going to play something and it says, you can't do this, you can't do this. When you go to a concert and you're involved in everything that's going on, they're not coming to hear perfection, they're coming to be moved. They're coming to forget about, that their mortgage is late, or that they're having a fight with their wife or something like that. That's your job at that point. Your job as a performer is to pull them into your world. And once you do that, it's not scary anymore, because they're with you.
And he with them.
I bought this Carnival of Venice Variations in a used bookstore and used music store in Florence.
From the stage, he shares whatever might be interesting about a piece of music with his audience. An anecdote about the composer, a bit of history that sheds light on the period. Anything to bring them into the creative experience.
When we're reading about history, we read about politics a little bit, but when we look back on what happened in the Renaissance, do we talk about the politics then? No, we're looking at these gorgeous paintings of the Renaissance. Well, what's going to happen in 300 years or 500 years or whatever? Are we going to be talking about the politics of the day? I hope not. I think what we might be talking about is the art and what happened. And we've got to bring people in. We can be museums, but we also have to be creative. And if we're not bringing people into our creative process, we're going to lose them.